History remembers the headlines. We find the bylines. This is the unsung. The 20th century was shaped by physics. The names that echo through its halls are those of great theorists and explainers: Einstein and relativity, Feynman and his captivating lectures, Hawking and black holes. But what about the physicists who didn't just explain the world, but built its new foundation? History remembers the invention of the transistor as a triumph of American industry at Bell Labs. But behind it all was a soft-spoken, Midwestern theorist, who was the essential problem solver on not one, but two of the century's greatest physics breakthroughs. His name was John Bardeen. He didn't just win a Nobel Prize, he won two, the only person ever to do so in physics. So how did the man who helped invent the digital age and then unlock the secret of superconductivity become the most overlooked giant in modern science? John Bardeen was born in 1908 in Madison, Wisconsin. He was a genuine child prodigy, but not in a flashy, disruptive way. He was quiet, introspective, and possessed a staggering intellect, enrolling at the University of Wisconsin at the tender age of 15. He went on to earn his PhD in mathematical physics from Princeton, studying under the great Eugene Wigner, another Nobel laureate. His chosen field was solid-state physics, the study of how electrons behave in solid materials. In the grand academic hierarchy of physics, this was often seen as less glamorous than peering into the hearts of stars or smashing atoms. It was the physics of silicon, copper, and germanium, the physics of dirt, as some of its detractors called it. But in the aftermath of World War II, this dirt was about to become the most valuable real estate in science. By 1945, Bardeen was recruited to Bell Telephone Laboratories. Bell Labs at that time was a cathedral of innovation, a place where the brightest minds in America were given immense resources and a singular, ambitious goal: invent the future of communication. Bardeen joined a new group tasked with a monumental challenge: finding a solid-state semiconductor replacement for the bulky, hot, and unreliable vacuum tubes that powered all electronics at the time. His deep theoretical background positioned him perfectly. He wasn't a hands-on tinkerer in the traditional sense. His power was intellectual. He was the deep thinker in a team of brilliant experimentalists and engineers. And they were all stuck. The entire project was stalled by something called the surface state problem, a theoretical quagmire that had stumped physicists for years, a mysterious barrier that prevented them from controlling the flow of electrons in semiconductors. The problem was a ghost in the machine, and John Bardeen was about to become the world's foremost ghost hunter. Bardeen's pivotal contributions are a tale of two seemingly impossible problems, solved a decade apart. The first, and most famous, was the transistor. Inside the high-pressure environment of Bell Labs, the team was led by the ambitious William Shockley, with the gifted experimentalist Walter Brattain working alongside Bardeen. Shockley had a design for an amplifier, but it consistently failed. The surface states were interfering, trapping electrons on the surface of the semiconductor and preventing the device from working as intended. For months, the team was at a dead end. Bardeen, however, went back to the blackboard. He dove into the quantum mechanics of the problem, spending weeks in deep, silent concentration. His breakthrough was a new theory of surface states. He realized that the electric field wasn't penetrating the material as everyone assumed. Instead, it was being blocked by electrons trapped on the material's surface. This wasn't just an observation, it was a roadmap. Armed with Bardeen's new theory, Walter Brattain was able to design a clever new experiment. On December 23, 1947, using a sliver of germanium, some gold foil, and a paperclip, they demonstrated the first working point-contact transistor. It was Bardeen's theory and Brattain's experiment together that made it happen. Shockley, the group leader, was furious at being sidelined from the moment of discovery. He would later secretly refine the design to create the superior junction transistor, ensuring his name was cemented in the history books. The Nobel Prize in 1956 was awarded to all three, but Bardeen and Brattain were the ones who truly cracked the initial puzzle. Bardeen, weary of the conflict with Shockley, left Bell Labs for the quieter academic world of the University of Illinois. There, he turned his immense focus to another mystery that had baffled physicists for 46 years: superconductivity. Why did certain materials, when cooled to near absolute zero, conduct electricity with zero resistance? It defied the known laws of physics. At Illinois, Bardeen assembled a new team, bringing on a young postdoc named Leon Cooper and a graduate student, Robert Schrieffer. Bardeen, now the elder statesman, didn't dictate the answer. Instead, he provided the crucial direction, the unwavering conviction that the solution lay not in the electrons themselves, but in how they interacted with vibrations in the material's atomic lattice. His role was to guide, question, and provide the foundational belief that the problem was solvable. It was Leon Cooper who discovered that electrons could form pairs, linking up to move through the material unimpeded. And it was Robert Schrieffer, during a late-night subway ride in New York City, who had the eureka moment, figuring out the complex mathematical wave function that described this new state of matter for all the paired electrons. The resulting Bardeen-Cooper-Schrieffer theory, or BCS theory, was a masterpiece. It perfectly explained superconductivity and earned them the 1972 Nobel Prize. True to form, Bardeen insisted that Cooper and Schrieffer, his younger colleagues, share the spotlight equally. So why is John Bardeen's name not as famous as Einstein's? His relative obscurity is a textbook case of how our culture chronicles science. We love the myth of the lone genius, the eccentric visionary like Tesla or the charismatic showman like Feynman. Bardeen was the opposite. He was a reserved, humble family man who believed deeply in collaboration. He wasn't a lone wolf, he was a genius enabler, the quiet anchor of a brilliant team. This mode of working, while incredibly effective, is simply less mythological. Then there's Shockley's shadow. William Shockley, though brilliant, was a relentless self-promoter who actively wrote Bardeen and Bratton out of the popular narrative. His dominant and later deeply controversial persona simply absorbed more of the historical oxygen. Furthermore, breakthroughs at major institutions are often credited to the institution itself. We hear, Bell Labs invented the transistor, and the quiet individuals who made it happen fade into the background. And finally, there was the perceived status of his field. Solid-state physics, despite being the foundation of all modern technology, simply lacked the cosmic glamour of relativity or quantum field theory. Bardeen's work wasn't about the origins of the universe. It was about making a piece of silicon do something useful. And for that, he never got a parade. The correction to history, then, isn't just to remember Bardeen's name. It's to understand his legacy. That legacy is the physical and theoretical infrastructure of our modern world. Every smartphone, every laptop, every server farm humming with data. Every single one of those silicon chips exists because of the transistor he helped bring to life. Advanced MRI machines that see inside our bodies, maglev trains that float on magnetic fields, and the future promise of fusion energy all rely on the understanding of superconductivity that he pioneered. Bardeen's story demands that we elevate the collaborator, the synthesizer, and the quiet problem solver to a heroic archetype in science. His life proves that the most impactful work is often done not by the loudest voice in the room, but by the one who listens most intently. The great challenges of the 21st century, from climate change to artificial intelligence, will almost certainly be solved by Bardeen-esque teams, not by lone geniuses. Who are other brilliant collaborators whose names have been overshadowed by a single figure or an institution? Share their stories in the comments below, and subscribe to the Unsung.